President Trump firing up the troops in Japan with his signature Trump dance as he continues his 4-day Asia tour. DJT meeting with Japan's first female prime minister, a fellow conservative who was literally jumping on stage over the $550 billion trade deal they just signed in exchange for a lower tariff rate of 15%. The two leaders bonding over a baseball game while pledging a golden age of alliance. Trump then firing up U.S. troops on board the USS George Washington.
Unlike past administrations, we will not be politically correct. You don't mind that, do you? When it comes to defending the United States, we're no longer politically correct. We're going to defend our country any way we have to. Our ultimate strength does not come from equipment. It comes from the men and women of the rank and file. That's true. It comes from you people, incredible people, good-looking people, too many good-looking people. I don't like good-looking people. I never liked good-looking people, I'll be honest with you. I've never admitted that before. But see, I'm allowed to, we won in the Supreme Court a thing based on merit. You know about that, right?
He's saying the Supreme Court is ugly. That's what he's saying. Contrast Trump bringing home the bacon for America through trade and peace with the latest bullcrap that the Dems are focused on. Tampon Tim pushing a hoax that the president's top priority is the White House ballroom.
I can paint any damn picture you want for you. They're paying contractors to tear down the East Wing, but they're not putting money into the food bank that they're setting on. And when the White House press secretary said the top priority is the ballroom, we could not disagree more.
Oh, my goodness. And Jazzy says Trump policies are killing people. Surprise.
I think that the question should be, which party is truly about being pro-life? Which party is truly about the entirety of the United States? And which party is really more patriotic? I'm hoping that all Americans can finally wake up and say, we are going to prioritize ourselves. We are going to look for people that maybe we don't think they're super funny or super entertaining, but they will not try to deal death to us with every single policy that they hand out.
Gotta say, Fabio is looking great, Dana. You know, when you see Trump go abroad, do you get the sense that to the rest of the planet, he's kind of a symbol of America?
Sure.
He's like, because he kind of encapsulates all the personality, the optimism, the excitement of America when he goes where he goes.
I think absolutely, but I do think that you kind of think that, especially in the receiving country, certainly thinks that. That's why sometimes when President Biden would get up there and start to talk, and it was feeble and unsure, it would be like, that's not us.
That's not us.
That's not us. I think he's had a great visit. I love that the Japanese gave him Shinzo Abe's putter.
That's nice.
And creative gift giving is a real part of their culture, and I'm sure he was touched by that. Like he'll never forget it. And so those kinds of personal touches can really matter when the rubber hits the road in the future. For example, if China makes a move on Taiwan, or if North Korea starts to make some moves, then Japan can say, Mr. President, she can give him a call. It also reminded me of the first person to call the United States and President Bush after the 9/11 attacks was Koizumi of Japan, which was kind of remarkable given that 43's father and Koizumi's father fought against each other in World War II. So you can see that freedom, democracy, and a willingness to have a good relationship and communicate and be allies can lead to a very fruitful relationship that bears great consequences for your countries. It's when you stop talking that things go bad.
Exactly. Someone who will never stop talking is Jesse. He never said this before, that he didn't like good-looking people.
I know what he's talking about.
He's talking about Fox and Friends. That's why he goes on Fox and Friends.
No, he's talking about guys. He likes good-looking women. He doesn't like good-looking guys. And I agree. If you walk into a party and there's a male model, you want to get the hell out of there. It just doesn't make you comfortable. You understand, Greg?
Yeah, that's why
You're a 10.
And that's why all
those people don't want to be near you.
They leave when they see me.
Exactly.
It's incredible. Women, too.
And I'm not one to heap unwarranted praise upon this president, am I?
No.
Am I?
Never.
Never? Ever? But this is a masterclass. Think about right out of the gate, he laid claim to the Arctic. And then what did he do? He basically now controls the Atlantic and European theater from the Ukraine mineral deal, the UK trade deal, the EU trade deal, the NATO deal. Then he locked up OPEC. We have huge leverage over OPEC because the AI deal, the peace deal, and then we established deterrence with the Iran strike, and then we kicked the Chinese out of Panama, and Maduro's next, so they better watch out. And then we just came all the way up the East Asian rim, Australia, Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, and signed this great historic trade, mineral, and defense pact with the Japanese, our closest and dearest ally in the region. We have basing rights there. They hate China. And I'm not saying we have checkmated China, Greg. I would never go overboard, you know me. But everywhere, every inch of the globe, we have confronted them with economic and military power. And it's been amazing to watch.
Yeah, Kayleigh, Harold's going to say, let's not bring Joe Biden into this, but we will anyway. He's greeted like a rock star on a global stage. And meanwhile, you have the Democrats wallowing in their petty grievances, talking about the ballroom. Are they just going to be forever stuck in this hole that Biden put them in?
Yeah, and I would say Trump continues to dig that hole deeper for them. He does these things that are just normal, like building a ballroom, and then they fall into a very deep hole, and then they find themselves in this endless cycle that the American people just look at and they roll their eyes. And I mean, look at this. He's just having fun. To Jesse's point, he's just winning 4 trade deals at ASEAN. Then he goes and he gets this big deal in Japan worth 1/10 of their economy in a year. I mean, that's ginormous. And that's after he does no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, bombs Fordo, releases the hostages. I mean, all this in just a few months. And it's paying dividends. Like, I wish Jessica was here. I'm going to text her this polling because I just found some new polling where...
Let's do that.
Oh, wow.
Let's text Jessica.
Polling.
I'm going to text her. 43% October of last year said the economy is the biggest problem. This year, 24%.
Wow.
So 20% fewer say the economy is the biggest problem. He's made a difference. Republicans, the generic ballot for Democrats is the worst it has been in the last 20 years. And then finally, when you look at the shutdown, Republicans in Congress gained 5 points in popularity during the shutdown. Republicans keep winning. The polling's bearing that out. He's having fun. He's dancing in Malaysia. And Democrats are just falling into the hole of the East Wing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Harold, you're unlike a lot of Democrats. You can actually find joy in what's happening with Trump. You see he's doing well. He's making stuff happen. Can you convince your party that maybe it's better to contribute than tear things down?
I always want to do that, whatever, when it's my party or the other party. I'll say this. Good to be back with everybody, first off. 2, I don't like it, and I'm going to say it again. I think any president, when you're overseas, there's no need to trash the former president. You're Democrat or Republican. I just say, come home, do all the politics. I think that's wrong to do. 3, I hope all these things the president's gotten over here, Kayleigh and Jesse, it's all true. I hope that I think the president said $19 trillion in commitments to invest in America. I don't know if all of that will come to fruition because I don't know how you enforce that. I don't know if that president or the person leading the country is able to ensure that those dollars, those resources are committed. What happens when they're not in office? And frankly, a lot of these countries are facing some economic hardship themselves. And to think that they're going to commit this kind of money to our country, I hope it's the case. And if anybody can get it done, it's President Trump. But here's what I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with China. You're right. All of this is about China, Jesse. If we don't get a reset of the relationship, if we don't get a reset of how and what they buy from us, and for that matter, what they continue to allow us to access, mainly rare earth minerals, then none of this really matters because they are the biggest trading partner. I also hope India sustains its commitment to not buy Russian oil. And I genuinely hope and pray that what we're seeing today, what looks to be like a collapsing of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, I hope that ends and the president's able to bring that back together. What I do know, I don't know about the polling, I'm not a big poll guy, but what I do know is that 1 out of 8 Americans depend on food stamps to eat. And that program runs out of money on Saturday. What I do know is that air traffic controllers, we didn't have enough of them 3 months ago, and now many of them are not coming to work because they're not being paid.
Democrats should vote to make all that happen.
Here's what I do know. I do know this. If President Trump, consistent with that point, said to Republicans, John Thune, who's my friend, and Mike Johnson, go negotiate a deal with those guys.
Join Fetterman. It's very simple. Just vote with Fetterman.
Yeah. If I were in the Senate, I'd join Fetterman. The problem is you still need 6 more votes, which means when I served in Congress and when I was in politics, when you needed more votes, There was nothing you could do but go back and negotiate. But here's what I'm saying. I know one thing for certain. If President Trump, much like he got Netanyahu and Hamas to figure out how to give the hostages back to Israel, if he told Thune and Johnson, you can sit down and negotiate with Democrats, I guarantee you, the 1 out of 8 Americans who depend on food stamps would have food this weekend. Air traffic controllers would be paid, and everybody.
It's a clean CR. There's nothing to negotiate.
It's interesting. Harold just compared the Democrats to Hamas.
No, I didn't.
That was interesting.
It was interesting.
This is what I know. 1 out of 8 Americans are on food stamps, and that's a doggone shame.
All right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.